Mobile Learning, a project presented by Jan Lopez in partial fulfillment of the class EDUC 8841-2, Diffusion of Technology at Walden University. What is mobile learning? Mobile learning can perhaps be defined as any educational provision where the sole or dominant technologies are handheld or palm-top devices. Mobile learning should be restricted to learning on devices which a lady can carry in her handbag or a gentleman can carry in his pocket. I therefore define mobile learning as the provision of education and training on PDAs, palm-tops, handhelds, smartphones, and mobile phones. The mobile device will be the world's primary connection tool to the internet in 2020. But why do we need mobile learning? Well, quite simply, the children of today are not like the children of yesterday. They are now technologically savvy and need an education that is both individualized and geared toward technology. They can experience learning through listening, reading, predicting, reflecting, and responding. And learning can take place anywhere, at any time, and most importantly, all the time with mobile learning. The development of the smartphones began in January of 1992 when IBM launched its first smartphone for $899. We've come a long way, as in 2010 the iPhone 4 was developed and sold. Now children are bombarded with a plethora of different smartphones and handhelds. Smartphones have also become very commercialized. It is projected by the third quarter of 2011 the proliferation of a smartphone will match that of a regular feature phone. You can see people using them from all ages, races, sizes, and shapes. Smartphone has become so commercialized that 45% of Asians and Hispanics own a smartphone, 33% of African Americans, and 27% of whites. The innovation decision process. The five stages in the innovation decision process. The first of these stages is the knowledge stage. The knowledge stage began in 1973 and continues into 2012. We will then enter the persuasion stage, where we'll try to persuade people in our district to begin using mobile learning. We will then enter the decision phase, and finally the implementation phase, where we'll have some highly savvy teachers start working with mobile learning. We need to love our knowledge. Knowledge is the basis for everything. So we're first going to assess the current teacher and student knowledge and exposure to mobile devices. Then we will determine how to store and use the device, developing appropriate usage standards, and creating lesson plans using the learn and focus strategies. It is both innovative to use mobile learning, and it's following the social system norms. Mobile phones are now a technological tool staple regardless of socioeconomic status. Persuasion. It's all about getting to yes. In order to choose the teachers for mobile learning, we're going to use teachers and students who favor and are willing to experiment with new technology. The improved communication between students and teachers through a technological medium that is comfortable and familiar to the student, like a cell phone, is in the best interest of both the teacher and student. In order to make a decision about mobile learning, we have to look at 5 different things: the relative advantage, compatibility, complexity, triability, and observability. After looking at the improved communication and active engagement of students, the software that's easy to maintain, no standard operating system or platform, professional learning opportunities that will be made for teachers, and the ability for teachers, administrators, and stakeholders to observe the mobile learning process in action will all assist us in making the right decision. We will get that yes. Implementation. In order to implement mobile learning, we'll first have to adopt it. Select teachers will be given the opportunity to implement mobile learning in their classroom. They'll teach in 21st century classrooms, complete with 2 network computers, smartboard, LCD projector, and Elmo document camera. Once the mobile learning is successfully implemented, the teachers will model mobile learning to everyone else. Teachers who are not comfortable with mobile learning will be given the opportunity to opt out and continue their technological professional development until they are comfortable attempting to utilize technological tools. Confirmation. Everybody loves that pat on the back. Teachers implementing the mobile learning technology will offer continuous technical support and professional development, and a bunch of attaboys. Communication. How are we going to communicate to people about what we're doing? Well, we're going to use mass media, the radio, television, and even newspaper. We'll use interpersonal skills like face-to-face communication, as well as interactive communication, like the internet, Skype, email, and chat. The adopter categories and the S-curve. Yes, there's a curve for everything. What is an S-curve? Well, an S-curve demonstrates the rate of proliferation of new innovation. It's initially slow during the innovation phase, and it's very fast during the adoption rate during the growth phase. If we look at the S-curve for mobile learning, we will see that as we continue along the S-curve, we will eventually reach 100% of the market share. So now let's look at the cell phone penetration. As you can see, by the year 2014, it was projected that the number of wireless cell phones in the United States will match the U.S. population at a 1-to-1 ratio. Perceived attributes of innovation. So who are our key innovators and early adopters? The innovators include students and technology coordinators at each school site. Early adopters would also include students and staff who are already familiar with the existing technology, as they would be the most likely prospects to adopt this new technology. How are we going to get them involved? Well, we're going to have structured opportunity to work with the mobile learning technology. We're going to use pre-tested and designed tasks for the innovators and early adopters to complete, which will provide immediate positive feedback and success. And we're going to recognize the staff and the students for their accomplishments through email and school newsletters. Who are our key laggards? Well, those would be the staff members without exposure to the new technology, or perhaps school board members without a clear, delineated understanding of how the new technology can increase achievement. They can also be students from socioeconomic groups that have not been exposed or experienced in the new technology. Critical mass and change agents. As much like the picture, critical mass is when the child no longer needs the father to assist them in riding that bike, and the change agent is the parent. In the case of mobile learning, critical mass occurs when enough individuals have adopted an innovation and that the innovation's further rate of adoption becomes self-sustaining. When enough early adopters and innovators have begun using the innovation and have shared it with their peers, the continued growth is self-sustaining. Examples of things that have met critical mass are Apple, Facebook, and the Android. Now let's look at smartphone usage. Has the smartphone met critical mass? Well, looking at the graph, you can see that in almost every area, smartphone owners are higher in their usage when it comes to texting, picture messaging, mobile internet, email, apps, text alerts, and location-based services. Let's look at mobile learning in the Glenn County School District. We have not met critical mass in implementation and usage of mobile phone learning in our district. In fact, we don't allow mobile phones to be on in our schools at all. If we place the innovation into the hands of teachers who are open and readily willing to use it and provide positive reactions and benefits to these early adopters, we really will help mobile learning hit critical mass in Glenn County. We are going to use a decentralized approach. We're going to use people and the resources we already have in place. Expert members like architects, teachers, surgeons, or those who have technical expertise. This will make it cost effective, and we're going to use a bring your own technology policy. Who are our change agents? Who are the people who are going to really make that step? They're teachers, administration, parents, students, superintendent, and instructional. There are 7 roles that a change agent must take. The first of it is to develop the need for change. Our change agents will provide student scores on benchmark assessments and the CRCT. They will review remedies that have been used in the past and their relative effectiveness or ineffectiveness, and they will introduce the concept of mobile learning. Secondly, they will establish an information exchange relationship with teachers and community. They will build that link. They will present their own personal experience and certifications and connect the school and the school district with the teachers and the community. Thirdly, they're going to assist in diagnosing the school's difficulty with standardized tests. They're going to discuss changing demographics of the student body, the various subgroups, and also the changes in technology and teaching methodologies. The fourth role is to create intent to change in the client. In other words, we're going to introduce mobile learning. We're going to explain bring your own technology. We're going to make education more student learning focused as opposed to the status quo. And we're going to differentiate our instruction to meet the needs of our students while still achieving state standards. The fifth role is to translate intent into action. The change agent will explain the innovation timeline and how it works, and demonstrate the effectiveness of mobile learning through a short survey using a mobile app known as Bolster. The sixth role is to stabilize adoption and prevent discontinuance. How are we going to stabilize the adoption? Well, we're going to continue professional development in a blended fashion, using self-chosen and directed online professional development modules. We will also have 4 group meetings for the teachers who are chosen to institute this innovation. We're going to provide continuous technological support as needed and provide a system to storing the mobile phones in the classroom, as well as strategies for proper implementation. And the 7th role is to achieve a lasting relationship. We need to demonstrate that mobile learning can be maintained and continued at the school site level with little intervention from the district. We need to utilize the assets that are already in place more effectively to increase student achievement and engagement in the classroom. Let's let's look at some of our organizational innovations in the Glynn County school system. We have champions in our district, like technology coordinators, instructional coaches, and media specialists. They have a familiarity to their staff and an understanding of who is an early adopter as opposed to a laggard at the school site. And most importantly, they understand the need for the innovation. The champion also determines appropriate classrooms and timelines to begin implementation of mobile learning. Using their expertise, they'll be able to match appropriate mobile learning apps and learning experiences to the needs of the students, taking into account language differences and special needs. Let's take learning outside the confines of the classroom. The time has come to support mobile learning. We need to capitalize on the strengths of our students rather than focus solely on their weaknesses. We need to make learning both meaningful and accessible to all learners. The learning process does not end at the classroom door. It is continued throughout the day, anytime, anywhere, in any subject. How are we going to support mobile learning? We need to provide professional development opportunities at the technological level of the staff, based on their perceived needs and wants. We need to make videos of the mobile technology at work and successfully implemented in classrooms, and have those videos available and presented to the school board, the community, the public, the laggard teachers, anybody and everyone who will listen. What are we waiting for in Glynn County? Are we going to continue educating our students in the tried and true, old, archaic ways? Or are we going to prepare them for the future, what lies ahead of them, and what they're going to see at the university? The thinker now thinks with different tools. The time is now. Let's bring Glynn County school system into the next century of learning.